It's the same thing. People that are always trying to ask you or trying to force trust is really because they're trying to get to some type of level where they can attempt to manipulate you. There are people out here who have that loyalty DNA, but they're rare and they're hard to find. And when you do come across them, they're not going to ask you. They're just going to show you through their actions that they're deserving of trust. So Isaiah Thomas is right not to trust an organization. That's the attitude that he should have had in the first place. But different people learn in different ways. Some people have to learn things the hard way. Whether you learn it the hard way or the easy way, as long as you learn, that's all that matters. So trust is not something that goes hand in hand with a job. And playing point guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers is his job. Right? That's not his family. If he's fortunate, he'll develop a lifelong relationship with 2 or 3 other players with all the teams that he played with. Maybe 2 or 3. Or maybe not even that. So, all that family stuff, that's more like summer camp. When these guys go on these teams, it's like friends that you meet at summer camp. Summer camp ends and you never see them again. So you have to put things in proper perspective so that you can move forward with your life, man.
Because I've heard the best you can hear. And then I've been through the worst you could been through. But as I build trust in these guys and as I around these guys more and more each and every day, these are some good people.
And it's the fourth quarter. Look at your wristwatch. It's that time.
At the end of this season, your contract will be up. You'll be a free agent. And you were very open when I saw you at Summer League.
Yeah, Brinks truck.
Bring that Brinks truck. Back up the Brinks truck. I want a max contract. The Celtics should give me a max contract. There's been a lot of changes since then. How are you looking at that now?
The same way. I deserve it. And
let me say this. His mentality is that he wants a max contract. He has the right to want what he wants. But that does not bode well for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because that means that he's going to come out trying to put up numbers. So now you're going to have 2 players, him and LeBron, who are concerned with their numbers. Now LeBron, to give LeBron credit, is a naturally he's a naturally, at least overtly, magnanimous person. He's going to give Isaiah Thomas probably a month and a half where he has a green light, so that Isaiah Thomas can build up his confidence and his comfort level with his role on the team. But overall, for the entire season, it's very obvious that Isaiah Thomas is going to be concerned with putting up statistics that are going to validate and verify why he should get a max contract deal. So how well that's going to gel with the future of the Cavs and how well that's going to vibe with his teammates who have championship aspirations, we're going to find out. I stated in a previous video when this trade first went down, I'm not sure how well him and LeBron are going to vibe together. Remember, LeBron does not play well off the ball, and Isaiah Thomas is used to playing in an offense where he has carte blanche to shoot.
And the world is going to see when I do come back. I'm not going to miss a step. Yeah, it might take some time to get my rhythm back because I've been out for so long, but when I do come back 100% and playing the way I've always played, I deserve to be paid as a max player.
You have not yet gotten back on an NBA court in an NBA game with NBA players. Is there ever a thing in your mind that says, maybe I'm not going to be quite as fast, maybe I won't get that separation from taller defenders, all that stuff that makes you special?
No. There's days where you think that because rehab is tough. But I've had no indication that I won't be back to the player I've always been.
Let me also say this about Isaiah Thomas. One of the reasons also to give him the benefit of the doubt why he's still dwelling on the Boston Celtics situation is that he hasn't had a chance to play with Cleveland yet. So, just to continue that relationship analogy, sometimes people, when they're dwelling on something in the past, is because they haven't moved forward to something that has been fruitful, in the forthcoming future. So he's going to have to really come out and play with Cleveland, get used to wearing the quote-unquote wine and gold, and get used to being in a new environment. That's going to be very beneficial for him. He's going to need that. And in regards to him demanding the max contract, if Otto Porter and some of these guys around the league can get the deals that they've gotten, somebody will most likely give him a max deal. So we'll see what happens with that.
I'm working my butt off each and every day to be the player that I know I can be and the player that I've been the last 2 to 3 years. And
Floyd need to help him with his jump rope skills.
That's the only thing I'm working for.
Your gym back in Washington State, when we watch a documentary, you can see it's postered with that phrase, "Pick me last again." What does that mean to you?
It means you could be the guy that looks dumb at the end. It means everything. I mean, it's not just for me, it's for them kids looking up to me. It's for the next generation that I'm trying to inspire and show that, man, anything is possible. Even if your back is against the wall, even if nobody believes in you. You just got to believe in yourself. And that's.
I agree. And that's a great message. That's if there's one thing that will be the legacy of his career, being 5'8", 5'8 and a half, however tall he is, playing in the NBA, is that he can show, kids who want to play in the NBA that if you're good enough, if you have a high enough skill level, you can definitely play in the NBA. So that's definitely a great thing for him to embody.
And that's what I've done my whole life.
But anyway, that's the feature on Isaiah Thomas. Will he be able to move past the mental issues that he has with the Boston Celtics? And if he cannot move past them, is it going to hurt the Cleveland Cavaliers in the long run? We'll find out. But, let's see what else they have to say. They may have something more to say about Isaiah Thomas. Let's see.
I got to tell you guys, I was just fascinated sitting there listening to him, that link between, we know when a player's injured to that degree, there's so much doubt that comes, will I ever be the same player again? These are really long odds, 6 months of rehab. He's just kind of more equipped to deal with that mentally than a lot of other players would be because of his personal history.
He's so wonderfully revealing.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he just tells you a lot about himself there.
It's funny because he touches on the hard part of the rehab. For a lot of guys, it's not the physical. It's the mental. It's the isolation. You're kind of away from the team. The trainers work on you when the team.
And that's another reason why he's still dwelling on Boston. Once again, when people have a traumatic issue, event, relationship, and they isolate themselves, oftentimes that's indicative of the fact that they're having a hard time moving forward. And they isolate themselves because they have a hard time moving forward. And then because they isolate themselves, they're going to have a further hard time moving forward. So it's like it's like a cycle that is feeding into each other. You're going to isolate yourself because you have a hard time moving forward, and then you're going to have a hard time moving forward because you're isolating yourself. So once again, once he gets back on the floor and he gets to play Boston a couple times, I think that eventually he's going to realize that it's silly to keep dwelling on something in the past that cannot be changed.
The team has already been worked on, and they're already doing other stuff in practice. So that's what he's got to overcome is that mental fight of I'm in this fight alone.
Yeah, and he hasn't played a minute for that team.
Right.
So he's integrating himself into a team that it's not a case of, oh, we know you, we love you, we work with you. I mean, he's a brand new guy on that.
Yeah, and he is expecting to come back kind of any day, maybe within the next week and a half is kind of what we're looking at right now. So, I mean, tell me what changes for the Cavaliers on the court once he comes back.
Well, obviously, he's a great talent, and you never say no to talent. But it's not a case of where they can just roll the ball out and and it'll be fine. You got to figure out a way to incorporate this guy to make him a part of the offense and not.
That's impressive. Guy 5'8" that can do that.
A bystander, because we think about Isaiah Thomas at his peak, what kind of player he is. He's a guy who flourishes with the ball in his hands.
Exactly. And that is going to be an issue between him and LeBron. I don't care what anybody says. He's going to have to learn, Isaiah Thomas is going to have to learn how to make quicker decisions when he gets the ball. Because most likely he's not going to get the ball at the top of the key. He's going to get the ball more on the wing. And he's not going to be able to dribble too much. He's going to have to make quick dribble moves and either go to the basket or pull up.
And so now you're saying, hey, the last couple of years you had in Boston, that was first class. So you always use this analogy. Now you got to kind of ride coach a little bit. You're going to have the leg room. You're going to sit in the exit row seat. We're going to look after you. But it's not the same because LeBron James has the ball in his hands. And LeBron James is the main decision maker. And so Isaiah Thomas has to figure out how he can fit without having the ball predominantly in his hands.
Okay, so first of all, they get deeper, and that's good news. I mean, Jose Calderon's a wonderful pro. He'll be a wonderful backup for this team, and they get another creator off the dribble. It's not without challenges. He is compromised defensively by virtue of his size, not by any lack of effort. It's going to put a great deal of pressure.
Well, he's compromised definitely, number one, by his size, but also by a lack of effort as well. He does not exert a lot of effort on defense.
Deal of pressure on the big man in pick and roll defense. They are the 28th ranked pick and roll defense league. It ain't about to get easier. You have to be, as a big man, when you have a smaller guy who's defending the ball handler, you got to get up. And they have not always been inclined as big men, on Tristan Thompson notwithstanding, to be up on that pick and roll.
Yeah.
Now you look at what he stated. He said that the Cleveland Cavaliers are ranked number 2 in the NBA on pick and roll defense. As we know, the Warriors are the masters of the pick and roll. When you bring in Isaiah Thomas back, who is the worst defender in the NBA, it's only going to get harder for them to defend the Warriors pick and roll, especially when you involve a Steph Curry. All you have to do, especially if you have a Tristan Thompson in the game or even a Kevin Love, whoever they're guarding, you just have them come run the pick and roll with Steph Curry. And either Steph Curry has an Isaiah Thomas who's trying to get over the pick, or you have a big man trying to guard Steph Curry one-on-one. This is all assuming that Golden State is healthy into the finals. So, of course, it's pure conjecture. But it's just not going to bode very well for Cleveland. And then, as we all know, LeBron James, at this point in his career, is not a great defender. He's barely good anymore. And he certainly cannot guard Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and Tristan's not starting right now. Kevin Love is the guy who is sitting there. I mean, look, you saw it when they played against the Warriors. Having someone who can shoot at some point is just going to be a value. I mean, they just weren't making their 2-point shots. But I would think with LeBron and how much he is a facilitator also, and how much he is so court aware of getting guys the ball where they need it, that would help.
Yes, it's going to help initially. Like I stated, the first month or so, LeBron is going to go out of his way to make Isaiah Thomas feel comfortable. There's no doubt about that. He wants Isaiah Thomas to learn what his role is going to be in the offense. And he needs Isaiah Thomas to take on that Kyrie role. So LeBron actually is going to encourage Isaiah Thomas to be very aggressive with the basketball, because it's going to take a lot of pressure off of LeBron. And as the season wears on, LeBron is going to start to wear down. He is older. I don't care how well he keeps his body together and intact. He is going to start to wear down, especially, around Christmas, as they say, is when the NBA season officially starts. And as we've seen since Christmas, LeBron has been, he has not quite been the same explosive player. So Isaiah Thomas is coming in right at the right time.
As he's trying.
It can and it can't, because again, LeBron does do that, but you're taking Isaiah Thomas to a place where instead of you have the ball, you feel out the flow, you find the shot, you find the play. Wait there, LeBron will get you.
He'll get it to you when you need it.
Rotating pick and rolls, though, opposite sides of the floor. I mean, there's stuff they can do.
That's why I said it's not a case where you can just roll the ball out and everything's fine. They have to work at making it work.
And I think this is part of why we're seeing this slow play a little bit. This morning at shoot-around, Isaiah was doing a lot of work with the team, with the coaches, things like that. And people are like, well, why isn't he playing tonight? You saw footage of him there dunking, right? I think they want to put him in a situation where he is going to be successful, both physically and in terms of team integration thing.
And look, it's pretty much known that when you bring back a player, who's been rehabbing, especially a serious injury, when you bring them back, you always want to bring them back against one of the lesser teams, especially if it's a star player, because you want them to do well right off the bat. You also don't want them to go against a top team, because the intensity level is going to be higher. So you want an Isaiah Thomas to come back against one of the lesser teams if you can.
Thing. The Cavaliers are the oldest team in the league. They don't practice that much. Now that he can physically be out there, they want him out there with the team in a situation where the whole world is not watching while they figure it out a little bit. So I don't know if we're going to see him against Utah when they're there this weekend. I don't know for sure if we're going to see him when they play in Boston. I know everybody is waiting for that game, but I don't think that's the first game they want to put him out in Boston Garden. So I think it's going to be interesting. You can see, though, from that interview,
if that nigga come back, his first game is in Boston, he might sprain both his hips playing so damn hard. He might purposefully try to dive into the crowd. Danny Ainge still on the baseline. He might purposely try to dive into the crowd on the baseline and elbow Danny Ainge in the face.
He is very ready and very eager, and I don't know. After watching his career, guys, I have no doubts about sort of how he's going to attack them.
You're going out without a fight, that's for sure.
The Cavaliers have been without a...
But anyway, that's the story on Isaiah Thomas. Hopefully everything ends up well for him. And hopefully for him, he can find some closure to the emotional and the mental issue that he has with the Boston Celtics, which is just very unhealthy. You cannot allow yourself to develop any type of a soul tie with a corporation, with a job, or anything like that. That's just not going to work. But anyway, peace.